I'm so freaking excited to finally, like, I haven't been able to stop thinking about Silent Hill F since yesterday. Because I need to know. I need to know. What the hell happened? Why is she like she is? And like, what's up with the fox man? And why is her lovely sister actually evil? She is like she is because daddy didn't love her. Yeah, it can be those daddy issues for sure.
Fantastic. I played through the game and got the normal ending and posted a video of that going deeper into the story from start to finish. If you haven't already checked it out, go and do so, it's on screen right now. But Silent Hill F isn't that simple. There isn't just one singular ending that will tell you everything that you need to know or all of the perspectives that are possible in this game, because that isn't what Silent Hill does. Silent Hill F is a game with multiple endings. It has a true ending, a bad ending, a good ending, the normal ending, and of course, the secret ending. Today we are covering all of them, explaining each one of them in as much detail as possible and what that means for future lore.
This creepy freaking girl.
This video wouldn't be the same without you guys commenting your thoughts and opinions down below. If you agree,
crawled out of bed not too long ago. Well, same, we're twinning.
Disagree or think differently to anything that we go over in this video, leave it down below and let's open the discussion down there too. Now, before we go into this, I want to give a huge shout out to Gamers Prey on YouTube for allowing me to use the footage from his video. Without this footage, we wouldn't be able to see the endings of this game and go into a deep analysis of them. So a huge thank you to you, my friend. Please go and check out his channel and the original video. Both of the links will be in the top of the description, along with the top comment of this video. Go and drop a sub and let him know that Wizzo sent you. However, these videos are not quick nor easy are they to make, so leaving a like down below would be a fantastic way to show your support. And of course, why not go ahead and hype the video? It's a new feature on YouTube that they've been
what the hell is
recently,
this?
And it's on the same row
I've
as
never
the
heard
like
about
button.
this.
It allows
is this
smaller
a new
channels and creators to be hyped, helping them to be noticed by those larger audiences. So if you could help me out there, I'll help you guys out too. If this video reaches 500 likes, I'll do another giveaway for another
I believe in you, Wizzo.
Of this game.
You got this.
To a couple of people down below in the comments on any platform of your choosing. So make sure you stick around at the end to find out how to do that.
Jag har ägnat min karriär åt att stärka den svenska ekonomin, stötta näringslivet och skydda
Who the hell is this guy?
Idag.
But this has been a long intro and I appreciate that. But check the timestamps down below to skip to a...
Oh, guys. When I watch long videos, I always have to like have one of my stress balls. Do you guys have that too? Or is it called like fidget toys, I guess? For ADHDers or tismers out there, all of us. I love like the long videos for my stress balls. I was thinking about watching all the endings first. But then I was like, but I'm gonna want to have it explained, right? Because I'm gonna sit there like, why, what, why, and get frustrated. And then I saw like this, he's gonna show all the endings and explain it. So I was like, hell yeah, hell yeah.
Certain ending you want, or stay the whole way to fully listen to the explanation. The timestamps are very important parts of this video, so make sure you pay close attention to them. There's going to be a lot of explaining going on in this video, linking parts of the story together and showing you guys why essentially the endings are the way that they are. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen,
he explains all the endings. It's just a very long intro
of Silent Hill F. Before we delve straight into the endings for each scenario, we need to take a couple of things into account from the story that lead up to the different endings and paint the picture a little better, because this story as a whole was quite a confusing one to wrap your head around when playing through the first time. If there's anything you feel I've missed within this video or that's slightly incorrect, then please do correct me down below in the comments. But of course, be nice.
Be nice. Always be nice.
All of it starts right here on this bench. Shu, your best friend, your partner, hands Hinako a box. Inside this box were a bunch of small red pills. These pills were given to Hinako by Shu very regularly, and we can see this from a note that's found in the game. The note would say
there's something iffy about those pills.
Severe headaches, that the headaches that she would get are mostly down to the poor relationship with her father. first over-the-counter medicine was recommended, but Hinako started taking them over and more often than usual. Shu didn't like his partner relying on these drugs, so she was switched to using traditional Chinese medicines that uses kudzu root and peony. However, Shu would not only give her medicine to help, he would also continuously be there for her.
Peony, isn't that the flower that ends up being everywhere as well?
Ending most sentences together with "I'll always be there for you." Partner in Japanese terminology could mean multiple things. The general love or romance side of things is also a possibility, but what I think he's referring to when calling and referring to Hinako as this partner is that it's a loyal companion or ally. Nothing romantic on the surface, but deeper down I think it probably is. We can also clearly see throughout the story that Shu has an attachment to Hinako. Even when he and Rinko are together, you can clearly see that his interest is just not there.
Even if no one else is left in this world.
Oh, ew, English dub. No, that's not right.
It's good to know you're still around.
Partner.
Wait, what about Rinko?
She just said she needed to talk to me about something.
Rinko was supposed to be with you. How do we know if she's all right?
Oh, it sounds so wrong. Sacrilegious even,
The
yeah.
one comment that got me was
Ew.
when Hinako asked if Rinko was okay, worried about her whereabouts, and Shu didn't seem fazed one bit, because deep down he knew who his love was. Now looking at another perspective, and diving deeper into another point, her father specifically was abusive, mentally and physically, to her mother and her mother would always side with her father, even in those times. This led Hinako to resent her father, even going as far as speaking back to him, which in that culture was a huge no-no at the time, with the comment made a lot of the time, "Why can't you be more like your sister, Junko?" Ultimately, Hinako did not want to be like her mother, have an abusive relationship and not be able to do anything about it, almost feel trapped, and this was a big driving force in her decisions.
I mean, all this is easy to understand when you play the game. But it's all the I'm still so confused about the sister. Why did she end up evil?
Throughout this game. Now, in 1960s Japan, just when this game was based, arranged marriages between families was very much still a thing. It was known as the, now forgive me if I butcher this, the Omaya Kekon. And although we don't see this directly in the story, I think the writers are pointing towards this being one of the main driving forces. Towards the end of the game, we see Hinako have a flashback in a playground, and a boy is lay on the ground who was attacked by a dog. This boy's name is Kotayuki. Kotayuki also special because this is actually the man that Hinako sees in her dreamlike world. The man that's always there for her in her mind. The man.
Oh, so I was right. So this guy, this boy that she met, who gets all the freaking weird letters from the mother, "Hello, my handsome boy." This is actually the Foxman. This is a big thing for me as well. I thought she was trying to help us. Yeah, that was kind of what they made you think throughout the entire story, and then was what? Okay, then who was the doll?
That cares for her, wants the best for her, fights away evil for her. Now, Kotayuki is the main character throughout this dreamlike world, one that Hinako grows to love. This is the man that Hinako's arranged marriage is with. Now, to summarize what I've just gone over. The easiest way to look at this game is by breaking down two perspectives. The dreamlike world, we'll refer to it as in this video, is a Shinto marriage ceremony between Hinako and Kotayuki. Each time you are in this world, you are one step closer to marrying Kotayuki, each time completing a ritual, and in the reality side of things is Hinako before she was married, before it all became a thing, which is why she was in this dream world as herself at the end, because she was there, it was happening. Both of her consciences, let's say consciences, were there at that time, battling against each other. Should she marry? Should she not? Hinako was placed into an arranged marriage. This would be a Shinto wedding ceremony, and the rituals they carry out are symbolic of that. She was confused yet anxious about this, because it means once you're married, she will no longer have her own personal identity as such. We could see this when both Shu and Hinako were sat on the bench together. Shu's comment, "No matter the choice, I'll always be there for you," hints that the town and her friends already know what's coming, and that Shu ultimately is still
What? So it was all about arranged marriages? Holy.
coming to grips with it. We can even go as far as a conversation Rinko and Shu were having together when Hinako overheard, saying Hinako is dead, living a better life in another world.
Cut it out.
Okay, so she gets an arranged
tydligen
marriage
från
as well, because I assume her sister also has that. And that's what they're talking about. When they like, because I remember this section in the game, like this snaky girl, she talks about Hinako like she's dead constantly. Dead, 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 dead. So I'm guessing dead refers to her being somewhere else with a husband? That's very like being married and dead. Is that the same thing? What? That's very radical.
I don't want to talk about that right now.
I'm not gonna cut it out. I'm gonna keep bringing it up until you snap back to reality.
I said, knock it off. Seriously.
Oh god, it sounds so
I'll
weird.
just come right out and say it. Hinako's dead, okay?
Like
She's gone. She's living a better
being dead and being married. I think there's a difference there. When you put it there, yeah. But I guess in like the 60s Japan, maybe it is like a death to you, like younger self, because you're gonna have to like adapt completely to the man's family, right? It makes sense why she's telling that because he has feelings for her. Yeah, true.
life in another world.
Now for me, obviously she is not dead, but I interpret this to be that Hinako at the moment in her current reality is so unhappy within her family life, and generally she's depressed. She hates her mother, she hates her father. She's now in this arranged marriage. She's now in another world, living a better life with Kotayuki. And Shu, he doesn't want to talk about it because he thinks he loves Hinako and wishes that that was him. Throughout the game, however, Hinako is running from a version of herself that is trying to get rid of her past self. In this dream-like world, she is seen leaving her friends behind and letting them die, sometimes even doing this herself. This is a point made by the Foxman, Kotayuki, just after she let Shu die. This to me symbolizes her moving on and cutting ties from everyone in her past, mainly her 3 friends, because this version of her is already given into the arranged
Thank you for the
marriage,
hydrate.
and this shows with her slowly following the command of the Foxman. When Hinako would awake in real world, this is where Hinako will live all of her past traumas that she's had, everything that happened throughout her friendships that she had in school with her so-called friends, and even all of the happiness that she once had too, which makes the real world Hinako question if what she's going through is really what she wants. Throughout the story, Hinako would come across dolls, one she was familiar with from the start of the game, mostly when she was a child, but mostly warning her this was her real world self.
Oh my god, Naru! I was right about that! It was like a version of herself trying to, I don't know, warn her. Not that we care about anything that the doll said, but you know. I understood something. I mean, I thought it was the sister the entire way until I noticed that the sister was evil. So I was like, okay, then she can't be the doll. What the hell?
warning her of the concerns
Smart
that she had,
fish.
almost reminding
No,
her
no, no,
we would
no.
mostly see these concerns in a dreamlike world when a ritual would be taking place or when she was walking to the altar. It's however really important to go back to the point that we made earlier in the video about arranged marriages and Kotayuki. Throughout the game, a series of rituals were carried out, some not so much in your face, but others were more discreet than others. For example,
I'm so confused about the Foxman still. It's her arranged marriage husband thing. But it seems like she loves him. I mean, like the first entry about him is talking about him like he's a prince and yada yada. It's like never something bad, I think. I never really checked the journal at the end.
insane, but little things that you may not have noticed throughout were actually involved in a overall Japanese wedding rituals. So we're going to go through those and just to
Do you have to saw
paint
off
the
your arm
picture
during
of
a
what we were
ritual
seeing
to get
throughout the
married? No
story
thanks.
And what rituals were done when we may not have actually noticed. So at the very beginning of her journey, the masked man guides Hinako to a shrine of some sort. Here he gives her a dagger known as a kaiken. Japanese wedding tradition can involve a dagger named a kaiken, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is hidden in the bride's kimono. This practice is a holdover from historical customs where the dagger was a symbol of protection, mature womanhood, and the bride's resolve to protect her chastity and her family. The kaiken is a smaller version of a guardian katana and is not a functional weapon, but rather a decorative accessory. The second would be the priest would typically then conduct a purification ritual for the couple and
My
guests
stabby
to
tool, I
cleanse
miss it.
impurities. And we can see here that the priest doing these purification rituals is Sakuko. Her family owned a shrine in which she one day wished that she could be the head priest of, and we earlier found this out in a note when we were walking through the town. So when we fight her in this dreamlike world, this is the evil or the impurity that needs to be cleansed. So this is what they do straight after, in which Hinako reacts terribly to. The priest then recites prayers and reports the couple's intentions to marry to the gods, Kami, seeking their approval and blessing. This is at the point where Rinko attacked Hinako. The couple present sacred evergreen branches at the altar to receive blessings for their marriage, which we
This is a lot to go through just to get married. Oh my days.
see them doing right here. There was a section where Kotayuki and Hinako were sharing a drink together. This is known as a Japanese wedding ritual named the Sansankudu. The bride and groom will take 3 sips each from 3 different cups, symbolizing their bond and the joining of their families. The wedding rings will then be exchanged between the two. The bride will typically wear something named a Suno Kakushi, which will symbolize her suppressing her negative emotions like jealousy towards her new family. It serves a similar purpose of concealing or transforming part of the wearer's appearance to represent a symbolic change in her status and role as a married woman. They then both would walk down the aisle. The marking ritual is, in my view, a symbol that Hinako is now going to be marked as a married woman, giving her a new identity, a new stamp. And of course, her taking her arm is a common phrase used for taking your hand in marriage.
What?
In this case, it was an arm, which was pretty gruesome. The mask is worn because the wedding itself is known as a fox wedding. This is a folk belief where a sun shower, which is basically where it rains when the sun is shining, is said to occur because the foxes are holding their wedding ceremony. This phenomenon, which sometimes appears as floating lights in the dark, is referred to as a Japanese folklore as a supernatural event, or a natural event with supernatural origins. There's also a really interesting part of the story where Hinako makes her way to her family home and greets her parents. And it's there that her mother is very happy to see her, dressed up, ready to marry.
I don't
But
understand.
her
I didn't
father
understand
had
this either.
other comments. "This isn't your home anymore" is a term used by families to their daughters who are being married off.
Oh, so he's actually like sad that she can, or well, she isn't allowed back home because she's basically not a part of her, well, OG family anymore because she's married. Is that what I'm getting? Yeah, crying because he's sending. Yeah.
essentially trying to encourage them to make their marriages work and to not come back. So now we've covered all of that. We
Did not expect this game to have this kind of story. Me neither. That it's all about an arranged marriage. It can't just be that, right? It must be something else as well.
know for a fact that there was meant to be some form of arranged marriage during this game, and this rather happened just before, and this was the events leading up to that marriage. A lot of the rituals done were symbolic of a traditional Japanese ceremony in which it was carried out throughout the game. Make sure you guys keep this in mind when we come to explain those endings. So first of all, we're going to start off by going through the ending that I got in my playthrough of the game, the one that we watched yesterday.
Hey, wait. What did he say that we have to keep in mind? The arranged marriage like thing, right? And all the rules. Is that what he meant? I hope so.
Today, the video they uploaded, and this is known as the normal
Yeah,
ending.
the normal ending.
And it
This is
leaves
the
a
ending
lot
everyone
open
gets,
to
right? The first
interpretation.
time.
So in my ending of the game, the ending scene, Hinako from the real world awakes in the same dream world as this other version of herself. This is the wedding date.
One Hinako would represent herself who wants to retain her agency and disdain for current social societal roles. The other one who gives up her own agency in favor of a system she'd lead to believe who would be beneficial for her and others in the long run.
If you will, the day that she leaves her family home and becomes a
It's fine, Hinako. I can marry the hot fox man. It's alright.
woman.
You can
She
have
walks
Shu.
into the altar very drugged up to see her sister Junko at the shrine, asking her, "How could you be on her side? And you don't understand how I feel." This refers to Hinako taking these red pills so often to get her through the anxiety, the pain of going through with this arranged marriage. We've seen so often throughout that Hinako looks lifeless, emotion.
Okay, so the sister was on the parent side of her getting married away then? Is that why she's so mad at her? And that's why her sister is so-called evil?
Of these red pills. She's taking them to get her through.
The peony
But
pills.
when it wears off, she becomes anxious. She panics, and here we can see she wants to go home. Junko, her sister, throughout the whole game, has been telling Hinako to choose what side she's on. She could see she was drugged up. She was trying to do what a sister would, look out for Hinako, but she was painted like the bad person throughout this game.
Okay, so Junko had nothing to do with the marriage, but she doesn't want Hinako to take the pills? But why did Shu make these pills to begin with? And why doesn't it affect anyone else? Is this a story just about mental illness? Hello?
But that was down to Hinako's interpretation, the more real version of her, if you will. But Hinako was too drugged up to listen, and she takes more red.
I don't think he made them, probably just a drug in general. But didn't they say that they made those medications out of some root and peony and did make the pills instead of Hinako taking pills from the store? Her sister had been in arranged marriage herself, though it represented through a different mask, owl. Hinako vision of her sister probably a projectile of Hinako feels younger. Oh, that's why she has an owl mask, because she belongs to another family. I see. Wasn't that established with the wedding dress ending from yesterday? The pills? Yeah, she went crazy about the pills, but I thought Shu's family made the pills. They had these Chinese herb things that they even gave to the family in general. The drugs Shu hands to Hinako is connected to the white Claudia that grows in the Silent Hill town in Maine, having used them as part of the... Right. And like, why are they using that one? Then they must have like... There must be more people than Hinako that's drugged, right? Oh god, I have so many questions.
Pills there and then, and casts Junko aside. And there is where she takes one look at the altar and smashes it to pieces. This is what caused all of this, she says. And as she turns around, there she was, standing there, Hinako in her wedding dress. She'd got the better of this version of herself, and it was here that she would hear voices from people at her wedding, asking what the hell is she doing, and is she insane?
What the
Yes,
hell are you doing?
she is.
Hey, are you insane?
Shut up! Out of my way!
This being for smashing up the altar and running out of the church or wherever they might be, which is what this symbolizes. Even the voice of the masked man, everyone, just hold on. Hinako, why are you doing this? He showed he cared, that he was there for her when she needed it. Hinako ran out of the church doors into a sea of red sirens, thinking that all of the guests at her wedding were these monsters that she could see in her head.
Wait.
So she slaughtered them all in front of her, which is why the police were outside.
Unikawa 2 to HQ. We've got 2 male victims here. Same female suspect as in the wedding massacre on Route 8. One victim is currently in cardiac arrest.
Kagrocho 1 to HQ. We haven't found the knife used by the suspect at the scene.
Okay, so the normal ending is all about Hinako fighting this arranged marriage thing, but also being drugged on these pills that fucks her up so much that she starts thinking everyone are monsters, so she just kills them all during her wedding. Oh, that's dark. That's fucking dark. Good morning, Sky. Good morning. Hello. How are you?
Chances are good that it's still in the suspect's possession. Better consider her armed. Over.
Few hints that the pills are used to self-reflect, and if your own interpretation of events goes depends. But I think it implies that when Hinako took the pills, the influence of Silent Hill through the white Claudia ingredients gave her a psychotic episode. Ah. I'm like, how did he get like the Silent Hill thing?
HQ. Female suspect is in her 20s and wearing a wedding dress. Height is a little over 160 centimeters. Last seen fleeing Tsuneyoshi Shrine. Believed to be armed and
160? That's small. Guess how tall I am, guys. I'm the tallest of tallest. Believe me, okay. 190 centimeters? Almost. Very close. A nod to Silent Hill 3 when they looked like 191. I wish it would be so amazing to be that tall. Oh my days. Now I am 8 centimeters taller than Hinako. That's all I'm going to say.
highly dangerous. Exercise extreme caution.
So you're a hobbit. I'm not a hobbit.
Oavsett om du...
I'm tall, okay? I'm freaking tall. Short queen, I'm not short.
1. It appears the suspect was observed consuming red and white capsules at the scene of the crime.
Kaguracho 1, this is HQ. Did the capsules match the ones discovered at the wedding?
You're tall enough for me to rest my elbow on it. Hio confirmed tall. A tall lady. I wish I was tall. Gosh darn it. But I'm not short, okay? I just wish I was way taller.
Venue? Over.
HQ, this is Kaguracho 1. Affirmative. Collected capsules the suspect dropped.
You can actually find the white Claudia plant in game around Shu's family residence. Oh. I wonder how it got
But
there.
now let's move on to the bad ending.
Am I taller than Naru? Oh, let's go. Haha. Naru is short. Naru is short. She's a little cutie. I mean, 168 centimeters is like I guess it's like the normal height for women in Sweden. 157. Oh my god, you small for reals. You small. That's cute. That's cute. But yeah, I always wished I was like 190, 180 and had like super tall legs. Like long legs, so I could just look down on people, which sounds horrendous, but not in that way. I just wanted to be like tall and scary walking down like the road. Like a demanding respect, you know?
This ending starts in the same way. Hinako walking into the altar. Junko standing there asking her, Hinako, are you Hinako? She is greeted by Junko. Unbelievable. It's time you accept your fate. Hinako refuses to accept that fate. The more she clings to life, the longer she clings to her past, the more Hinako suffers. Shimizu Hinako no longer exists, referring to her taking the last name of her husband and starting a new life, a new identity with him. The doll, however, appeared again.
Really? By the first, like, to the normal ending like everyone gets. Foxman is not evil. He's kind of the victim in the entire story. He's just there wanting to get married to Hinako. And then she kills him. Oh man, I knew Foxman was good. I knew it. It's always the dolls you gotta look out for. The dolls are freaky. If it's an arranged marriage, then he's kind of just a guy. Yeah, exactly. He's just the man she's supposed to marry, and that's all. And the only thing we really know about him is, you know, the scene from the playground when he got attacked by the dog and the letters from his mother. That's all.
And removed Junko from the room, the doll being this version of Hinako's past, clinging on, keeping her relevant, telling her to not go through with it. It got the better of her, and she destroyed the altar, saying she will bring back Shimizu Hinako. Hinako turned around and walks forward, but she starts having a splitting headache, and there she sees the other version of herself, saying, "You took everything from me." However, this, let's call the married version of Hinako, says, well, it's not like you can't see them anymore. They can still visit. You can still visit. But she doesn't want to listen. This, of course, is referring to her friends, her family. When she's married, it doesn't mean that she's never ever going to see anyone ever again. She can still visit her friends and family. But judging by the way that her father treated her mother, how isolated she was, that was never an option that she considered. But she doesn't even listen, and she wants herself back. Everything she's feeling right now, she's ready to face it. Both charge at each other.
What was that?
Hinako, the married version, starts acting demonic, starts to walk over towards her, almost like she's possessed. Kotayuki gives her an elixir to drink, and here we hear him say, "Incredible. You were possessed by something so foul and resisted for so long." Kotayuki extinguished the possessed spirit, but in the background was Shu. He runs in and smacks Kotayuki to the ground, and tried to follow up with another smack. But here, it all comes out.
Why are you protecting him? I swore that I'd keep you safe. Don't you trust me? It's always been the two of us!
I wanted for us to be together. Like we always were. We can't. Don't you see that? Things won't always stay the same for us.
You don't think I know that? But why do you trust this nobody? Why him?
Shu. You always say you want things to stay as they are. But Kotoyuki... he says he wants to build a future together with me. Both ideas scare me. But both of them fill me with hope. If only I could split myself in two. If there were two of me, then one could stay.
What?
She could stay here with you and keep being your partner. Shu!
I shall pursue him. I cannot allow this to pass.
Yeah, Foxman, you kind of get fucked up by a kid. Damn. Okay, so Shu was always like, I guess, kind of obsessed with Hinako as well, but he didn't want to grow up. Just wanted them to be besties and play wars against aliens, I suppose.
No. I'll go and talk to him myself.
Shu wants things to stay as they are, and Kotoyuki wants to build a future. Shu didn't make his feelings known. Ironically, Hinako says, if only I could split myself in two. One version could stay and keep being Shu's partner, the other could move on and be with Kotoyuki. He drops his bat and runs off, with Kotoyuki awakening, saying he will pursue him, not allowing this to pass. Hinako, however, runs after Shu. Here, he owns up.
I gave you those capsules.
What about them?
Wait. Did he purposely drug her?
Help you reflect within yourself. But they can be extremely dangerous too.
Oh my god, I thought Shu was a good guy. He had me fooled.
Why would you give me something like that?
I want you to get married!
Then say that instead of giving her
I
drugs.
care about you so much.
Brother.
I wanted you to see it. What the hell is
Yeah,
wrong with me?
something is very wrong with you,
How
dude.
can I not be happy for my partner? I'm such a piece of trash!
Okay, so he's heartbroken. And instead of saying that to Hinako, like, I'm in love with you and I'm so sad that you are in an arranged marriage, I don't want you to go. He's like, here, have these drugs instead. Okay? Again, Relationship advice number 55. Don't drug the person you are in love with instead of just saying what you're feeling. Okay, just confess your feelings. Don't drug them. Okay? Oh my days. Well, we haven't gotten to them yet. Maybe one day.
Now, she, of course, knew this.
The fish has a bottomless well of wisdom. Yes, truly.
Literally handed her a box full of them at the beginning of the game. But what she didn't know was the extent of what they were capable of. But then, something starts to happen.
I could never hate you.
I could.
He's my partner.
What?
We've been together ever since I can remember. How could I hate him? You're trying to ruin today.
What? What just happened?
This beast that Shu turns into is depicting everything that he's feeling. It represents passion, energy, and aggression in Japanese culture, representing the embodiment of greed, anger, and powerful
he becomes a demon.
And it's
Makes
often
sense.
with a fiery or demon-like appearance, with Shu's face in the center of it, fighting against his demons, fighting against Hinako. Hinako defeats this beast, leaving Shu standing. However, before he could do anything, in walks Kotayuki. They both confront each other, both treating Hinako like some form of object. They argue over her, with Kotayuki offering a hand in becoming friends. But Shu initially declined, until they put their fists together, and there it is. The Fox wedding. When a sun shower occurs, a good omen for their wedding. We pan to seeing all three of them standing. All three pan together. Kotayuki removes his mask, but that wasn't it over.
A good omen for a wedding.
Such an odd scene. So that wedding is like they get married and he also becomes friends with Shu.
Let's go inside. It is cold out.
All right. No. I'm scared. I'm so scared. Please.
Her panic starts to set back in. She doesn't want to end up like her mother.
I feel like my mother. I don't want to become my mother.
So that is ending.
But who says she's gonna become her mother though? Like, we didn't get any like evidence or anything hinting at the Foxman being abusive. Not like her father, at least. Her mother was probably also an arranged marriage. Yeah, but I mean, she gave up her agency. Oh.
Number 2, the bad ending. But now, let's get on to the good ending. This ending again starts in the same way.
Okay, is this the good ending? The good, in quotation, ending.
Hinako
Okay.
walking into the altar. Junko is at the altar. Even now, Hinako still can't accept the inevitable. She wants to fight for her life. She has the right to exist. She doesn't want to be married off and lose herself, lose her identity. But Junko reminds her it's far too late for that. However, she freezes in place. Hinako knows that she's wrong. It's not too late. With that doll, that version of herself clinging on, she is not ready. She walks up to the altar and smashes it to pieces. However, when she turns around, she sees the married version of herself. She thought she killed her, the version that was against the marriage.
Okay.
She wants to go back to being Shimizu Hinako, not her new married name. She wants her old life back. She doesn't want marriage. She beat that version of herself, only to be stopped by Kotayuki. Hinako asks, "Who are you?" In which he replies, "I could ask the same of you." Hinako would never act this way. How have you entered this sacred ground? With the doll appearing in the corner. And then, in comes Shu. He beats Kotayuki, however, the Foxman takes his true form. This is nothing more than a man that fell in love. He wanted nothing more than her happiness, and he will make her his wife.
Just what the hell are you?
I am nothing more than a man who fell in love. Ever since, I've wanted nothing more than your hand and your happiness. Hinako, I shall make you my wife yet. Out of love.
You know that meme when she raises up her hand and is like, "I volunteer." That's me right now. This just made him hotter, not gonna lie. Alpha wolf meme. Oh no.
In respect for you, I force myself to abide by the rules of human courtship. But if by honoring your traditions, I risk losing you, then I'm afraid we'll have to do things my way from now on. Abandon your world. Let the memory of your presence there fade away. In time, the missing postures will crumble to dust, to be carried off by the wind. They will forget your face, and they will remember you as nothing more than this. The hapless girl who was spirited away by a fox.
Oh, so he gets angry. Oh.
You stayed with me until the end. Thank you.
In spite of everything, I won't forget.
That's what I mean. Like, this Foxman just seems
So thank you
to be kind.
for everything.
Hinako! Over here! Hurry!
To me, this is nothing but a metaphor for Hinako choosing Shu over Kotayuki. A broken man did everything he could right. He brought happiness to Hinako's life. He was there for her in any way he could. And I would even go as far as to say he loved her. He will stay here, settle matters, tell everyone that the wedding is off. And Shu and Hinako, well, they can leave together.
I remember playing Space Wars with you back in the day. And that means you're one of us then, our comrade in arms.
I suggest you leave. I am still a monster after all, and won't hesitate to consume you if given the chance.
See you later, comrade.
The term monster, however, although it looks physical here, can genuinely be a term used for taking Hinako away from him. Kotayuki
So the bad ending is Hinako not getting married. and staying with Shu. How is that bad? Oh my, I'm so confused. Damn, I want to do that boss fight. Looms very Dark Soulsy. Yeah, it really does.
Yuki did all he could. He did right by her. Must hold his head high. The two of them sprint out of the church and away together. Shu had saved her, allowed Shimizu Hinako to live on.
Are you alright?
Thank you, Shu. If you hadn't come to help, I wouldn't have been brave enough to go on.
That's not it. That's the opposite of why I decided to help you. I helped because you showed so much courage.
It took me way too long to find that courage, though. I caused everyone so much trouble.
I don't know. I think it's crazy that you felt that the only way to do that was to give up on your life.
Why did you sound like that?
Thank you, partner.
I don't consider any of these endings to be good, in my opinion, especially since Shu is very possessive over Hinako. Even if he lets her stay who she wants to be. Yeah. But to me, it seems like when you play the game, that this is kind of the ending Hinako wants. But I don't know. I'm kind of feeling sorry for the fox, man. He just tried to do right by her. Insane.
You look really weird in a tie.
Yeah, well, you look really weird in that.
Did he just stay in the fog? What's with that shot?
Geysers have begun to reach approximately 50 meters in height, and over the past 3 weeks have shown no signs of letting up. The water temperatures and concentration levels of the accompanying hydrogen sulfide gas continue to increase dramatically, and the fire has spread to even this location. All residents of Ebisugaoka have been ordered to evacuate. Earlier we spoke.
Now, I'll be honest guys, I don't really know what the ending part of this particular ending means. So if anybody has any suggestions, please do leave that in the comments down below.
Okay, wait. So Shu and Hinako wants to stay like they've always been in that town. But the town is now getting poisoned by this Mother Earth thing. So they're gonna die if they stay in the town. Is that what I'm getting? So either way, they have to leave the town. But they don't want to, so they're just gonna die. Oh my god, like, oh god, this hurts my brain. It's so much thinking, guys.
Now, that's another ending out the way, the bad ending. But let's get on to the true canon ending.
Oh.
This ending again starts in the same way, Hinako walking into the
true
altar.
ending.
She said that someone is toying with all of them, her specifically. One of them wants to marry her off, the other wants to stop the wedding in its entirety. Everyone is always pressuring, rushing, forcing them, but these are battles they both must fight. Junko turns to her right and silence. She apologizes to her sister, her mum, her dad. She says she's been a terrible daughter, but if you truly want nothing more than for her to be happy, then please let her do this. Hinako walks up to the altar, Junko watching from behind, and she smashes it to pieces. However, behind her is herself, the version of her that's marrying Kotayuki. Why must we fight to the death just for one of us to survive this nightmare? However, something happens. The both of them come together forcibly and start to strangle each other.
I have a hard time when you have to like think for yourself when it comes to endings. I just want the answers.
For eons, all this rage and spite festered within me, and to this day smolder yet.
This is a really cool scene.
Insignificant wretch. Such rubbish means nothing to me.
Hinako, what is this?
However, Kotayuki separates the two of them. As she falls to the ground, he becomes possessed by something.
Kotayuki. Kotayuki.
Once in a blue moon, humankind produces an extraordinary girl
who is blessed with divine power.
Upon her birth, a spell is placed on our clan's successor that stirs within him a desperate desire to go and seek out that extraordinary girl and make her his wife.
What are you?
In the past, we relied on our cunning, seducing our brides with clever deceits. But this generation's heir...
Failing to charm his bride-to-be demonstrates what an inexperienced failure he is.
Kotayuki, no. He just... all he wanted was for us to get married and be happy together. He tried so hard. He was alone. All that time. Don't laugh!
Yeah, I feel sorry for Fox, man.
Dare
Poor
laugh
guy.
at him! What he suffered, you will never understand! You monster!
Hinako defeats the fox. However, it turns into this. This beast will depict everything that Hinako in the real world was feeling. It represents passion, energy, aggression in Japanese culture, representing the embodiment of greed, anger, and powerful emotions, often with a fiery or demon-like appearance. This was her fighting back against the version of herself that wants to get married to Kotayuki, as this is her fighting her own demons. And when defeated, all that is left, the only memory she has of her previous...
Okay, this makes more sense to me. Yeah, this makes more sense to me as well. But I'm also like, is it true that the fox deity or, I don't know, spirit is actually a thing, like an evil thing? Or is that also something she just made up?
life is the doll that she cherished so dearly as a child. However, both versions of Hinako are rushed into another room by Kotayuki. Here he says he's deeply sorry.
Seems to be an actual thing. Yeah, I was thinking that too. I would prefer if like there were an actual like evil foxing trying to make all of this happen. And then the foxman is actually just a good guy who just ends up having to be the head of the house for this shite.
He's had much to drink for his first wedding in many moons, referring possibly to maybe his father or someone close to the wedding that was angry at the fact that Hinako may have destroyed the altar or left or something. Hearing smashes on the large wooden door.
The whole village talked about it like a cult, and the altar's thing is evil gods. Oh, I see. Oh!
Kotayuki walks to resolve the conflict, and well, both versions of Hinako, even after she destroyed the altar, think on it. They say that they will speak to each other, and if the
Fox Dude is a victim to the system as well, being pressured to follow tradition even if it does not affect him as greatly as Himiko. Yeah. I was right. I was right. The Foxman was a good person. He was a good man. I knew it all along. Totally. In general, I assumed the Fox was a god and the main Fox family was Hinako's, but it was probably the Fox dude's family who had ties to the Fox. Yeah, exactly. And somehow Hinako was like the chosen bride or something. Who knows?
If the he had for her is true, then she will consider the 3 hug when the monster breaks in and it fades to white.
Yeah, Foxman, can you just chill for a bit while I talk to my old self and try to decide if it's worth marrying you or not? Okay, thank you. I didn't expect this having such a heavy, like, what's it called? Being so heavy on the, like, marrying aspect. Maybe I would have understood it if I was more, like, educated in Japanese lore with, like, the wedding dress and stuff. But I did not expect it being, like, so heavy on the marriage thing. The arranged marriage. Same, it took me by surprise. Yeah, I kind of like, what? Is that truly all it... Okay, I'm not going to say all. Obviously, it's traumatic to just be married off to someone and don't have your own say in things. Blah, 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 blah. But was that really everything? I don't know how it is in the other Silent Hill games, but damn, it feels like such a, I don't know, small thing. Even though, like, I know it's not small, it's awful, of course, but during this day and age, everyone was getting married, right? Like, arranged marriage off to someone. Arata, hello. How are you? Welcome in. And that's not traumatic. It's normal throughout human existence. Yeah, it's like, it's a normal thing. Like, arranged marriages still to this day exist. But I think they can be very, very traumatic, especially if one or both of the people who has to get married to each other don't want to. Like, then it's awful. But I'm just surprised it's such a heavy thing in this game. The trauma in Silent Hill games, at least to me, always seemed a bit more, well, traumatic and heavy. Yeah, that was kind of what I assumed, like something like really, really horrendous, like full-on murder and R words and stuff like that. Not just a marriage. And especially like a marriage with someone that seems to be a good guy. Good now that I see you stream. Oh, thank you, Arata. Welcome. Glad you're here. Most other Silent Hills always had a message towards feminine plights, but with Silent Hill F, the culture side of Japanese history lends to be stronger. I'm like, yeah, I guess. Still, in most places, trauma is a serious word used way too casually these days. Yeah, maybe, or we just got more understanding about what trauma is. Because, I mean, most things can be traumatic for a person depending on the person, right? Like, even if I wouldn't care so much if I ended up in a, let's say, a small car crash. Like, nothing huge. I got a little bump on my freaking car. Maybe I wouldn't take that like very heavily. Maybe I would be fine just driving the other next day, like nothing happened. For other people, that might be super scary. Yeah, I'm a bit confused by why she had to go through all the Silent Hill stuff because of this. But you know, it's a good game. It's a good game, so I'm not blaming it. I'm just a bit confused. I think it's just this story feels a lot more like a girl taking control of her rather than someone getting over trauma being. Yeah, definitely. It feels like all she really does is fighting with we're trying to find out what she actually wants. Does she want to get married and do all the things that people think she's supposed to do? Or does she want to go the opposite way? It's like she's just fighting with herself, and it turned into a Silent Hill game?
Hinako was back.
I kind of just feel sad for the Foxman. I'm just here being biased. I'm just here being biased to the Foxman. I can marry you, Foxman. Come to me, come to me, come to me, come to my pond. Everyone is welcome here. Even the evil fox thing. I can take care of that one too.
Back in the village, at the top of a hill, with a note left by Kotayuki. The days have grown warmer where I am. What is it like in Ebisugaoka? I can still recall the startling beauty of dandelions peeking out through the cracks in the stone walls. I would like to express my appreciation for the letter you sent me. It was quite enlightening. I will follow your footsteps and start by simply trying to enjoy life. As per your recommendations, I purchased sauce-flavoured senbi for the first time just the other day. I must have been quite a sight to see. A man dressed in a suit buying cheap rice crackers and eating them with children outside the candy store. The children laughed when they saw me, saying that real grown-ups don't buy such cheap snacks. They began swarming around me, telling me all the different delicious ways you can eat sauce-flavoured senbi. Though I must say I was taken back when a child suggested I try putting strawberry jam on it. Imagine such a scene, a fully grown man eating snacks with children. While I was rather embarrassed, I felt like I had regained part of my lost childhood. I intend to become reacquainted with my inner child, discover my own dreams, and live life to the fullest. And once I've done so, I hope to really evaluate my feelings for you. Hinako reads this note and is now starting to become accustomed with her feelings, her future.
Just take the Foxman. Her experience growing up in a toxic household and the expression thrown at her as far as being perfect woman during this time are reflected on the enemy design. Ah, yeah. Also, why so much Halo? I have no idea. Is there Halo music? I have no idea what Halo music is. Never played Halo. Interesting.
To herself, she says Kotayuki taught her something. You can grow to love someone deeply, and she wants to live a life so full of passion and purpose, just like that. That passion might one day allow her to propose to Kotayuki herself one day and carry on where they left off. And the other version of Hinako, the version that struggled so much.
She gonna propose to the Foxman herself in the 60s? Oh my days. So she isn't in love with Shu. I thought she had a crush on him too.
Well, she wants to pour her heart into something too, but right now she's unsure on what that is. They both explore the town. It's quiet. There's nobody there. No one to tell them what to do, to bother them. It's nice. They can do whatever they want, decide where they want to go. Hinako is now in a world of peace, a world where she can rest. Whatever this metaphorically means, however, judging off of the ending, this isn't the reality, and Hinako did in fact die, and potentially this is her in the afterlife, becoming accustomed with herself. At the end, they report 2 male victims dead. One may be Shu, the other Kotayuki. I'm not quite sure, we don't really get confirmation. But I'm guessing that Shu was killed while she was making her way back home, and obviously Kotayuki at the wedding, although they don't show that, but let me know your theories down below.
Wait, what?
And finally, ladies and gentlemen, let's look.
So the canon story, everyone dies and anyway? What? People can be pulled towards Silent Hill made by the town itself, mostly as some form of penance. In Harry's case, Silent Hill 1, he hadn't really done anything wrong, but James Silent Hill 2 was a monster. Oh. I saw something about them doing a Silent Hill 2 remake.
Look into that fun ending. I don't really think I need to explain this one.
Uh-huh. Oh.
Why isn't there anyone in town?
Because of them. There's no doubt about it.
Them?
Yeah, the aliens. They've been eyeing Earth for a long time, waiting for the chance to snatch up humans and replace them with aliens.
What?
Rinko, Hinako, me. Any one of us could be an alien merely pretending to be the real person.
I'm not an alien! Is there any way to prove our identities? There is.
How do you even get this ending?
What? Didn't you die? That thing killed you! This is Roboco, an anti-extraterrestrial search and destroy robot I designed and built.
Keso är med när ni gör er grej. Såklart.
Från Skinna expert i PL.
It's not a Silent Hill game without the UFO ending? Oh?
This robot can detect aliens masquerading as humans and automatically eliminate them. The battery's dead.
Wait, so the Sakuko that thing killed was actually an alien?
That thing was chasing me all over the place. I guess you had a hint of alien on you, Hinako. You might be an alien, or maybe someone close to you is an alien. These things copy everything down to your memories, but they're not perfect. Hinako, try saying something only the real you would know.
What the hell?
Oh, Rinko once took some of Shu's hair and hid it inside her pillow. Ah! Let it go try out a love spell and dream. Your turn, Rinko. One time, Hinako forgot her underwear in the locker room at camp and didn't claim it. Rinko! You're gonna burn in hell for that!
Can't blame you for not claiming it. Gotta be embarrassing saying it's yours when the teacher asks whose it is.
Privacy wasn't really a thing back in the day. Well, one time, Rinko skipped gym class and took Shu's clothes and... Well, the day after she fought with Shu, Hinako took his recorder and...
I think I'm more scared of girls than aliens at this point.
Okay, you're good. You guys passed the test.
What is going on?
It's us, I guess. So one time, Shu ripped a page out of an adult magazine and hid it behind his bookshelf. And he also cut out a photo of a classmate's head and taped it to a swimsuit model poster.
Why are all of these people creepy as hell? Is this normal?
Okay. We got it. Now it's my turn. Oh! Sakuko first started wearing a bra in the 6th grade.
Did I take something? Oh no, did you take Shu's pill? Don't ever take the pill Shu gives to you. Don't ever.
While Hinako and Rinko started after summer break in 5th grade. How's that?
Well, we didn't find an alien. But we did find an enemy to all women.
Hinako, we're heading home.
What about the aliens? Everything all right?
Oh, the neighborhood watch got together and took care of them.
Bye-bye! See you tomorrow!
So this is like the innocent ending.
For dinner tonight, I'll make your favorite Hamburg steak.
Hamburg Hamburg steak. Let's go.
I told you that's Junko's favorite.
Oh. Oh, it continues, guys. Did we all take a red pill? We might have. Oh, okay. Okay, that's a long ass.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are done. All of the endings explained and gone through. Information leading up to them also explained into the game itself. All makes a bit more sense now to me, and I hope it does to you guys too. Please leave your comments down below with your...
I just don't understand how the canon ending still ends up with all of them, like Shu, Foxman, and Hinako being killed. Like, what? And we don't even get an explanation of why. Sad there's no Shiba Inu ending. A Shiba Inu ending? Is that usually in?
This video will explain the entire story of Silent Hill F. I'll be going over the ancient history of the town and its dark secrets, as well as the main story, characters, monsters, all the endings, and the real story that the game seems to be hiding from us. As always, I'd like to issue a spoiler warning. Once this intro is over, we'll be talking endgame spoilers immediately, so you've been warned. Please beat the game and come back. I'd also like to thank Konami for giving me a code to the game early. While not necessary viewing to understand Silent Hill F, if you are looking for more Silent Hill content from me, I made a massive retrospective last year talking about the rest of the series. From dev interviews to analyses and explanations on the story, I covered all there was to know about Silent Hill, even the lesser known titles. So if you're interested, you could check that out. But with that out of the way, let's get started. So I'd like to begin by breaking down the religious history of the town, then I'd like to recap the main story and ending. Usually I add in some theory and speculation during these moments, but I want to save that for its own section this time.
So there's something specific
because
with the
now
town.
that we're past spoiler territory, I can reveal that I believe a significant portion of this game is fake, and takes place within the head of the main character. Silent Hill F is a game of multiple interpretations. There is the straightforward religious plot of the gods and their hold over the town, and then there is the metaphors and symbolism that point to this game being the main character's attempt to make a decision about an arranged marriage she's been forced into. With much of the game not only hinting at this, but specific dialogue and scenes being metaphors that allude to it. But none of that will make sense unless I explain the basics. So first, let's break down the religious history and the main story to cover the basic straightforward plot, then spend the rest of the video talking about those metaphors. So Silent Hill F sees us navigating the 1960s Japanese town of Ibisu-Gaoka. But the history of this now quiet town dates back a long time. According to the Nihon Shoki, a book of Japanese creation myth, long ago there was an 8-headed dragon named Yamata no Orochi, who demanded the sacrifice of young girls. The god of the sea Susanoo caught wind of this and decided to get
An 8-headed dragon? That sounds busy as hell. How does that even fit to a body? 8 heads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And here's a body. Yeah. What? I need a picture. What the hell does an 8-headed dragon look like? That must be busy as hell. Here's the tail, guys. It's not an UFO. It's an 8-headed dragon. Gosh darn it. He even breathes fire. Look. Oh, that was a head, right? Yeah, this is a tail. He has spikes on it, so you can tell really well. And here's like the front pauses. Nice drawing. Oh, thank you. I am very good at drawing, clearly. Amazing at drawing. Oh god, this was a hell of a picture. Look at me go. Delete, 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 delete. Still, a 8-headed dragon. I can't even imagine how that looked like. Well, yeah, obviously she's nuts and delusional. Yeah, it's clearly something going on.
Get the dragon drunk on some sake. As the dragon became...
I wonder how much sake it takes to make an 8-headed dragon drunk. It feels like it would take a lot. I actually never tasted sake. Is that good? I have no idea.
Intoxicated, the god cut off all of its heads. Ibisu Gaoka's history books continue this myth by stating that one of the heads landed not far from the town of Higa no Kuni, the original name of the town. Eventually, this head would come back to life as a poisonous water dragon and would plague the land for many years. Now, many, including a local historian, question the myth's validity. The town has had many...
What? Doesn't that totally make sense? Like, a head from a 8-headed dragon lands in a village and becomes a water dragon that poisoned water. I think that makes total sense, honestly.
Toxic gas leaks over the years due to underground water streams. Seeing as this addendum to the creation myth is only known within the town, some wonder if this was an attempt to explain the unfortunate circumstances that plagued the townsfolk. Regardless, the people of Higa no Kuni would then worship this divine entity, but later documents in scripture point to a transition in worship. At the tail end of the Heian period in 1170 CE, a war broke out between the Taira and the Minamoto clans. The Taira clan had lost the war and their power was dissolved. It's reported that members of the clan fled to all places across Japan looking for sanctuary. Some of them managed to find their way to Ibisu Gaoka. In fact, it's believed that this is where the town's current name originated from, as the kanji for Ibisu holds the meaning of a person who has migrated far away. Unable to restore their clan to its former glory, those who remained vowed to take revenge. They then buried the sword of their leader at the base of a great tree. According to legend, one day in the middle of the Kamakura period, so likely around mid to late 1200s, a monk donning multiple masks measuring over 3 meters, or almost 10 feet tall, would visit the town.
What the hell?
The monk brought the people to the great cedar tree. He told the townsfolk, quote, "You who fear the water dragon's wrath, quake no more, for the beast grows weak and prepares for slumber. It is none other than this great tree that has sapped the evil from it. Devout
Sake tastes a bit all over. Oh? Is it super strong?
yourself to the great tree, and it shall keep the beast subdued until the end of time." The townsfolk then abandoned the water dragon faith and converted to the divine tree faith. But even this faith would evolve with time. The town in the modern day lives on the outskirts. Only one bridge connects it to the main city. This is very likely the same problem that plagued the townspeople back in the day. Due to its location, trade was rare, practically non-existent. So the people of the town had to be extra careful with their tools. This would lead to the birth of the Tsukumogami faith. The definition isn't fully understood, but in some circles it's believed that tools over 100 years possess souls and become self-aware. The people will then take their old tools back to the divine tree as an offering to the gods. Then, in the Edo period, so somewhere between the 16 to 1800s, another change in faith occurred, as the divine tree was struck by lightning and burned down. By this time, the Tsukumogami faith had a grip on their land, so the people of the town treated old objects with sacredness. Having seen that their oldest object of worship be destroyed, the townsfolk moved to the next oldest thing, which was an Inari statue. Inari is the god of foxes, rice, and tea, as well as other things like success and prosperity. She is one of the main gods.
Now it can taste vastly different. I've had really sweet sake, but there's also really bitter ones. It's why it's so popular. Oh.
Gods within Shintoism, and thus has been known for quite some time.
God over
However, the
tea?
townspeople had mixed the faith of Inari and Tsukumogami to create their own unique faith exclusive to the town. A local historian of the modern day who's been reading up on the town's history, and one who is rather displeased with the town's, quote, superficial faith, asked a local priest about this phenomenon, who then said that Inari came to them in their time of need. The divine tree was the only thing holding back the power of the water dragon, but due to its absence, the town was susceptible to its terror once more. But that was until a family of foxes far out west traveled here to subdue the creature. Faith in the foxes is what bolsters their power, so it's up to the townspeople to pray to the foxes so that they can find the strength to hold the dragon back. Looking into the town, the area where the dragon was subdued has a surprising number of onsens. So technically, they had this dangerous water dragon
family of foxes came to this outskirt village and helped them fight against this dragon as long as they prayed to the foxes. Wait, so why did the doctor have a bunch of eyes inside a box? Right? Why was that a thing? Very odd, very odd.
In the religious aspect, the onsen seemed to release toxic gas that sprout from the ground like geysers. An investigator
Gotta go sleep. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Oh my god, thank you for being here, Sephira. Have a nice sleep. Dream about me. Hello, thank you for being here.
investigation has found that land near the mountains has a brittle surface as well, and that with enough time a landslide will occur. But the residents have pushed back on this idea, claiming that there hasn't been one in over hundreds of years, and that Inari is the one who protects them from it. While it could be seen as strange that people would be so willing to put their trust in such a thing, there could be some truth to their claims. The people of Ibisugaoka worshipped a twisted combination of Tsukumogami and Inari faith. All across town are various shrines dedicated to Inari and her foxes, with tools sometimes being laid out as offerings. But this debate over their religious history and the constant switching of deities has led to some controversy. In 1880, 13 residents of Ibisugaoka were killed in broad daylight. The killer was thought to be a man over 2 meters tall and covered in tree bark made to look like armor. The man was supposedly chanting about the divine tree and how if they don't pray, the dragon will come back and kill them. The same local historian from before believes that it was someone from the divine tree faith who wanted the people to return to worshipping it, even assuming that the garb he wore was meant to mimic the monk who first visited their land. But due to the faith in Inari, the incident is merely a small footnote in their history, and if anything, many believe that it was the work of the divine that smited the man in the first place. One eyewitness report says that a thick fog had crept in along with a pack of glowing wolves. They circled the man, and then before long, both the man, the foxes, and the fog were gone, leaving nothing behind. Further, over time, both Inari and her foxes seem to have been conflated within the faith. See, Inari is a goddess, sometimes referred to as Uka no Mitama, while the fox is her messenger, but many seem to worship them as one and the same, or only mention the fox. A girl named Sakuko, who is a deep believer in faith, believes that both Inari and the fox are in a supernatural battle for power, and that the fox usurped the goddess's position, which explains the discrepancy. But the powers of the fox seem to be far more sinister and far more powerful than you may ever imagine. One of the more notable families in the game's story is the Tsunekis. They are known for their wealth and their status. Every generation, the head of the family is known to
Tsuneki is the foxman, right? And his family.
Have a talent for business, and has used times of social unrest to bolster their wealth further. One woman would become a housemaid for the family and document her time there. She recalls the day the young heir of the family and a noblewoman would be arranged in marriage. The heir had relationships with many women though, so he was forced to end all of them, including one with a housemaid named Sachi. Sachi is important because she carries their child within her. Because the arrangement had already been made, the two had vowed to run away and start a new life together. But when the call came down, he would ultimately cast her aside. The Tsunekis then forced her out and left her somewhere far from home. However, the housemaid notes that the child is unmistakably a descendant of the Tsunekis, further saying that she believes this child will make their move when tragedy strikes the wealthy family. A pair of notes in-game titled Strict Mother's Letter seems to be written.
Yeah, because I think that the lover who was pregnant that they chased away was pregnant with the foxman, right? So she managed to get him into that family later on, I believe, because his father died.
By Sachi to her son. She mentions how he has noble blood in his veins and that she was never able to reacquaint him with his father, likely on account of her being kicked out when the arrangement was finalized. The boy, named Kodo Yuki, would then walk into town and play with some of the other kids. His mother had forbidden him from doing lots of things children would normally do, as she knew that one day he would be the clan leader, so she needed to prepare him for that day. One day, though, he was out with some kids who were chasing a fox throughout the village. The fox had lashed out at the boy, giving him deep cuts at risk of scarring. When taken to the local doctor, Kodo Yuki had passed out. He was then taken to a proper hospital to be looked at professionally.
Oh, so is that why Hinako sees him as a fox? Because of this memory? Or is his family tied to the Inari faith?
Upon arrival, however, the doctors detected no abnormalities, and he was cleared to leave the following morning. But something was off about him. When the doctor called out to him, using his name, Kotoyuki responded, "Ah, so that is my name." The boy's mother had also noticed that he's been applying himself to his schoolwork a lot more than usual. In truth, the boy had been possessed by the spirit of the fox.
Oh.
Fox possession is a common occurrence amongst many folks. A shaman who was possessed by a fox was given premonitions of a great famine. Through this, he was able to stockpile enough food to help his people survive. Another woman helped a starving fox only to be possessed by one and guarded towards some great treasure. But while this seems to be portrayed as a blessing, it can lead to a curse.
Oh.
For a few others who were supposedly possessed by a fox, they experienced great pains and even a desire to crawl on all fours. The possession of the boy likely came from the fox bite he suffered earlier. The boy's father then died sometime later, leaving the spot of clan leader open for him to claim. Although this would require him to leave Ibisugaoka to join his family. This Tsuneki clan is tied to the Inari. If you'll recall, the 8-headed dragon, back when it had that many, demanded young women for sacrifice. But even with the power of the fox, it was still not enough to quench its thirst. So every 8 years, a sacrifice must be made. A maiden pure of heart, one whose blood has been blessed by the stars and fate, shall be sacrificed. Her blood will be mixed with wine and distilled 8 times over. Her organs are then replaced with rice that has been mixed with the master's saliva before being sewn shut. Then the body shall rest undisturbed until the odor of the wine rises from its skin. She will then be adorned in a garb befitting a bride, laid atop a raft, and sent out to sea. Only then will the beast be quelled. But as a precaution, the ancestors of the clan also put in place a seal that would act as a lock to its prison.
Did that actually happen? Did they actually do that, or is it just folklore? Fox bad or good? Seems like they're a little in the middle. But I mean, either possess you and you find something good, or you get a little curse. It's probably fine. Doesn't sound too bad to me.
Atop this giant rock that would serve as the lock is a shrine called Heaven's Benediction, which would serve as a sanctuary for the clan. Should the seal fail, the clan, sanctuary, and the land will go with it. It seems as though women were lured into their chambers and killed to quell this ancient being. A girl named Mayumi wrote some notes that we can find in this shrine. In the town is a notice board that lists her disappearance, so it seems as though she was taken or lured here. Along with fox possession is a term called fox wedding. Older folks use this term to describe when a girl is spirited away. It's not entirely clear if this was created to give families a way to heal from the troubling revelation that their daughters were kidnapped, but it seems to have caught on. Well, Mayumi seems to have been spirited away and taken to the shrine. She writes about the relationship between gods and mortals and comments on her blessed blood. She then goes on to ponder who the next person will be, saying that she will do her best to make sure they transition well into their new life. However, we never hear from her again, and given her explicit mention of the blessed blood, it's fair to assume the worst.
Okay, wait, so they just randomly kidnap girls they thought had blessed blood and sacrificed them? I mean, that's wild, but wilder things has happened in history, I suppose. That just make me want to boycott whatever it's advertised. Yeah. Especially iPhone Air. Oh my god, I couldn't care less. At this point, who knows?
It's also possible that Sakuko may have been next, or was at least being scouted by the clan. A note in-game mentions the Igarshi family, which is Sakuko's, commenting on how they are the last descendants. Although it's unclear whether they meant the last descendants of the clan, or those of blessed blood. Inari also made sure that they ruled with fear. The man who has been documenting much of the town's history did so with a purpose. He did this to expose the corruption underneath. His father called out the town for using faith as a way to embezzle taxes from the locals. Shortly after he died in an accident, with many claiming it was a divine punishment. He would then later become an atheist, hoping to show the people through research their twisted and manipulative faith. But he writes this journal we find of his because he slowly started dying. At the beginning of the month, he lost his appetite. Eating any food at all results in him vomiting. Within all that vomit was the larva of a locust. The day before he wrote these notes, he woke up to a sudden coughing fit, only to cough out a grasshopper and a cricket. He can barely move at this point in the journal, not only surrounded by bugs, but also the constant noise of them inside.
I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that, if that ever happened to me, I would be like, please just put a bullet inside my brain now. I do not want to cough up insects. I don't want to hear them inside of me. Just end me now. Oh my days, that's horrendous. Sounds like typical village lord coming. Yeah, probably. I mean, we all have them, right? But damn.
At his body. He could feel them move around in his skull, even planting their eggs to grow more. But even in this final moment, he refuses to believe that this was divine punishment for questioning the gods.
Brother, just end it. Just end it.
However, his circumstance is not unique. A local farmer told his son about a story of 2 drunk police officers that kicked over a statue of Inari. The following day, the officers' bodies were found with insects and small bugs inside them. 9 other cases have been reported, all having the same MO, with bugs and eggs either near or within the victim. One of whom even claimed to bear a grudge against Inari. Police who handled these bodies were also reportedly disposing of them without so much as a second glance being granted to them, possibly in fear of angering the gods who punished these people. So it's clear that something is going on, and yet somehow it gets worse. Something stirred within Kotoyuki. He remembered the girl who helped patch him up when the fox attacked him. He was so in love with her that he wanted to study and become better so that he could be her perfect match. He wants nothing more than to make this girl his wife.
Oh.
According to the nine-tailed fox who possesses him, once in a blue moon, a girl is born who is blessed with extraordinary power. When born, the successor of their clan has a curse placed upon him, which gives him a desire to seek out that girl and make her his wife. This girl happens to be the one who helped Kotoyuki when the fox injured him, and the one he's been obsessing over. That being none other than our protagonist, Shimizu Hinako. That was a quick rundown of the history of the town.
So, I mean, clearly I'm not sure if it is the fox deity or the foxman himself. But he was clearly like, we found a letter that probably he wrote that he was clearly very obsessed with her. But at the end, it just seems like he's a good guy, honestly. Except for the fox deity. That one is mean, but
And the backstory behind some of the game's events. Like I said earlier, I'd like to now talk about the literal interpretation of the game's story regarding Kotoyuki, Hinako, and the fox god that moves the plot forward. Afterwards, I'll delve into the metaphors and the more speculative parts of the game. As such, much of this current section will recap the game's events and endings. If you've just come off a playthrough and already understand the events of this story, feel free to skip ahead to the next chapter in the timeline. For everyone else, let's continue.
Oh.
The game begins with Hinako being yelled at by her father. To get away from it all, she decides. Hopefully this explains the story of Silent Hill F, at least in regards to how the game tells it to us. Now that the literal interpretation of the game has been explained, we can now move into the more speculative, but more interesting section about how Hinako might be making all of this up. The game never explicitly says that this is the case, but there are a few moments that hint at this, and when understood, lots of the game's meaning changes in the process. This is why I wanted to save this rambling for last. A lot is going on in Silent Hill F, and a lot of events that occur can be seen as metaphorical, while those same events can be taken literally. For Hinako specifically, I once again believe this story takes place entirely within her own head, as she attempts to grapple with her arranged marriage, and the endings are what happened during the real ceremony. In Ending 1, the police report says that the suspect is in her 20s, despite Hinako wearing a high school uniform. And in Ending 3, the two playfully joke about their outfits. Hinako says that Shu looks pretty weird in a tie, while Shu says that she looks pretty weird in that.
Yeah, and she just still sees them
wearing
as
a tie, and Hinako's outfit is a common school uniform, something she's worn throughout the whole game.
Kids.
Her outfit also goes back to normal at the end too, despite no indication that it was swapped out for a new one. Shu might actually be wearing a suit and tie, while Hinako could be wearing the Shiromuku dress, as that was traditionally worn during a wedding. The talks with Junko then, where she mentions Hinako running out of time, is in reference to her wedding day. Hinako and Fox Hinako are two sides of the same Hinako, the one who wants to marry Kotoyuki and the other who doesn't. That's why endings 2 and 3 are basically what happens if one side wins. If the Fox version wins, she gets married, and that's the side of her that wanted Kotoyuki's hand in marriage. Ending 3 was won by the side that didn't want that, which explains why she escapes with Shu. And these boss fights are really just arguments and discussions. That's why neither Shu nor Kotoyuki dies, they just come to an understanding. Hinako's conversations with Shu also seem to suggest that the two are reminiscing and talking about her dilemma. Shu continually says how he will always respect her decision, no matter what, meaning that her choice to get married or not is her own, and that he will be okay with whatever she chooses. Hinako also mentions that both she and Shu are thinking of the past despite all that's going on.
So technically, they look like they are high school kids in the game, right? But they are actually adults. He just sees them as high school kids. So they're actually like adult people sitting there talking about her potentially going away. Is that why she's a traitor and a liar?
This one has a bit of a double meaning, as it's both a reference to the monsters and literal destruction of the town, but one can also interpret this as them thinking back on their childhood the day of her wedding. That's why I believe the real Hinako is much older, and on her wedding day is thinking back to her life as a teen, while trying to come up with a decision as to what to do about this marriage with Koto Yuki. As for why she is thinking of a younger self, well, most of this game talks about her spreading her wings like a bird. There is a near constant mention to it everywhere in-game, from puzzle pieces to in-game dialogue. Hinako hasn't grown up yet. She's running away from her problems, something that directly contributes to the first ending. This is a coming-of-age story, and one of reflection, so she's thinking back on her life in a rather vivid way to decide what to do, to marry Koto Yuki or not.
In a rather vivid way. Yeah, you can say that twice.
And so, now that we have the basic story structure laid out, let me try to explain why
So, the sister isn't really evil then. Oh, my head hurts.
think this. Silent Hill F's main character is Shimizu Hinako. Her family consists of her father, mother, and older sister. Hinako's relationship with her family is complicated. Her father is a drunk who spends his days drinking and yelling at his family, while her mother only seeks to calm him down. She rarely ever talks back to him and accepts any punishments that come her way. This has caused her to have a rather jaded view of her family. But through it all, she still loves her sister Junko. They used to play together all the time when they were kids. However, ever since she got married, she hasn't seen her much. Marriage is not only a core part of this game, but it's a core part of Hinako's current feelings.
Yeah.
Silent Hill F takes place during the 1960s. Marriage back then was not what it's like now. The Showa era of Japan seems to be defined by arranged marriages. This was often done for social or economic reasons, and Hinako is being married off to pay for her father's debts. Her father used to be a happy man. He had dreams of owning a restaurant with a friend of his, but that friend ran off with his money, leaving him broken in debt. Hinako's mom also seems to have been diagnosed with cancer, which would require her father to take out more loans and thus have more debt to pay for. Judging by the description of the note, it seems though Hinako...
Why did we miss this? Oh my god, I bet I missed so much during my gameplay. Oh my god.
Hinako also never knew about this. Hinako was then set to marry Koto Yuki, but life has taught her to fear marriage, as she sees the way it affects those of her family and how men often treat women. Her father is an awful father and husband. He treats the whole family terribly. He expects Hinako to respect him, but never gives it back, and if she doesn't respect him, then he gets angry. He expects his wife to cook and clean despite being fully capable, and then complains when it's not up to his standards. He then tries to pin all of his problems on everyone else, and then drinks all day and scolds his family, even throwing a knife at Hinako during an argument.
Replay the game.
It's also rather telling that the male enemies in this game are either these disgusting large blobs of mass, or lecherous skinny beings who pounce on her and lick her face, while the women are all designed with accentuated figures. Like previous Silent Hill games, the enemies are based off the feelings and beliefs held by the protagonist, and Hinako's journal helps explain things. She described the aforementioned monsters having greedy eyes, greasy palms, and hates the fact that it's not only chummy with her, but that it never bothers attacking other men.
Ew.
The kashimashi, as the website calls them, is covered in wounds and stitches, contorted in various positions. The variant of it we find in the Dark Shrine world even has swords for legs, to which she says, quote, "Did someone sever both its legs and replace them so that it could not go anywhere? Or was this creature brought into existence so that it could end up like this?" Their doll-like limbs also seem to convey the puppet-like existence that they may have. Within both worlds is also this large creature made to look pregnant. Its grotesque design is clearly meant to portray her view of childbirth. She considers this monster a vile show of...
So, I was right. It actually does give birth. That just makes it worse. Ew.
Life, preferring to die rather than turn into something like this. Even her parents get specific mention in her journal. Her father looks exactly like one of those larger enemies within the game, conveying that she may see all the men the same. Her mother, on the other hand, has her own design. The red flowers on her body could signify markings of abuse. Other evidence throughout the game corroborates these feelings. There is a fashion magazine that says a woman is only complete when she's loved. Near a farm, you can find a note from a wife addressed to her parents asking for forgiveness. She no longer recognizes her husband, mentioning how he gets drunk and violent these days, while also mentioning a potentially selfish act. Judging from the loud bang and the fact that one of the female enemies appears, I believe that she either killed her husband or took her own life. Near Shu's house is a small shed that serves as someone's sanctuary. The writer of the note demands that there be more women here, and when you enter, various kashimashi bodies are found on the floor, with a conveniently placed male enemy right outside. Some notes talk about claiming Hinako and how they belong to her. There is a painting of her in the Dark Shrine world. This one also removes her face.
I wonder if it's gonna mention the doctor's house and the eyes in a box. A lot of eyes in a box.
Along with the other women next to her. Hinako views adults, marriage, her parents, and the relationship between men and women a lot differently than most. She believes women are just objects for men, things who are treated no differently than animals. The monsters are meant to showcase either the literal wounds these women had from their husbands, or how some feel tied down by marriage, unable to escape their lives because they were born as women. She recalls the time that she saw Junko at the hospital about to give birth. All Junko could do was throw up and groan. Her hands were rough and chapped, and her face had aged decades overnight. She was a totally different person. To Hinako, this is what happens to women. They all end up like Junko or her mother, both suffering in different but many ways. This is why she could never see eye to eye with her sister. Junko is a woman who cares about the results, whereas Hinako cares about choice. In terms of marriage and happiness, Junko only seeks happiness as a result, regardless of how that comes.
I just think it's a little bit weird how it's all about Hinako reacting to this marriage, right? And her very odd view of women becoming ugly and weak in a marriage. And somehow all that, it feels so little, you know? It feels like it's such a small issue. It's just an odd view from her side. Like, I understand why she thinks that, or why that would maybe influence her brain. But, like, she's rational enough to think, like, she can still be herself, even if she gets married. I'm so confused. I'm so confused. The story is more complex than every Marvel movie.
Whereas Hinako would rather struggle and make...
I have not seen... I don't even remember. I think I've seen 1 or 2 Marvel movies, but that's about it.
Make wrong choices in life as long as she gets to say that they're hers, not choices made for her. She has a rather forward-thinking and progressive mindset when it comes to the concepts of autonomy and gender roles, which is, unfortunately for her, a rare stance to take in this era. Most accept the status quo, which she completely disagrees with. But all of this conflict about marriage, about how the women in her life are treated, and how the men she's seen act around women, it's all...
Definitely the weakest of trauma in Silent Hill. Yeah, it seems like it's just a very big focus on arranged marriages in the 60s in Japan. Yeah.
Led to her questioning her own arranged marriage with Koto Yuki. Throughout the game, Hinako has been chased and apprehended by the Shiro-Muku. Its mere existence and the constant corruption that spreads throughout the town are likely meant to represent how much time she has left before she has to make a decision. Besides the red flesh, there is a significant amount of spider lilies, which often represent death and rebirth. This decision, no matter which one is chosen, is going to have a major impact on Hinako's life. Be reborn, something she even says herself, and that's what they represent. But evidence within the game suggests that she does have feelings for Koto Yuki.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the first entry in her journal diary is that he's a prince. And she talks about him like he's a freaking fairy tale. Would have liked it if they had leaned into Hinako committing murder and having to deal with the trauma of her friend. Yeah, like I get this arranged marriage being a plot point, but then it would be so much more interesting if you actually she went crazy of these pills and killed all the people she cared for, and then you have to try to deal with it. Like that would make more sense to me. But I don't know. Maybe Hinako is a freaking psycho. Maybe she thought marriage is worse than murder. I don't know.
Definitely likes Hinako. She has within her possession various notes he had sent her over the years. But a letter called Letter with a Pressed Flower was sent from Hinako to him. With my theory of mine that some of this is in her head, this makes the interactions between them a little bit different. Most of the Dark Shrine trips are about Koto Yuki cozying up to her before Hinako eventually devotes her mind and body to him. It first starts with her killing her friends.
Yeah.
This part about the killing is actually kind of a signature flourish in this game, at least I believe it to be. Junko talks about killing her other half. Shadow Hinako talks about killing her, and various notes in the game mention that Hinako is dead or has disappeared. I assume that this is the game using colorful language to convey a point. Hinako can't possibly be dead, because the one person who believes her to be, Rinko, also talks to her throughout the game. It's clear to me that the various notes are implying that Hinako has moved on with her life because of the marriage. This connects somewhat to killing her friends, because I see this as Hinako abandoning her friends since she now has to become a wife. Sort of.
That makes more sense if she thinks, because in the beginning, like all the friends calls her like, except for Shu, like traitor and liar, and that makes sense if she like, if she's already married and adult and looking back to her childhood, that might be what she thinks they think,
Like how Junko rarely keeps in contact with her these days. She's basically being isolated from everyone so that all she has left is her husband and his family. That's when she's expected to take part in the transformation. This transformation is meant to be gross, because that's how Hinako sees it. She's not literally replacing her arm and face, she is giving up these parts of herself to be married.
No.
Again, Hinako has a very specific view of marriage, seeing it as this depraved, meaningless thing. That's why in some of the endings, we can hear the names Shimizu Hinako and then just Hinako thrown around. Women often take the names of their husbands, so she will no longer be Shimizu Hinako anymore, just Hinako. At the end of the game, her father says that she isn't welcome back. Even if she returns alone, do not expect to be welcomed home. In the patriarchal system that Hinako lives through, most women were absorbed into the husband's families, and they were likely expected to stay that way. It's the most likely explanation for why the women in the Dark Shrine world have all these masks with stitches on them similar to Hinako's, while the men simply have masks and an unaffected face. The women are expected to...
I mean, it's sad, but it makes sense for the time they're in.
Upend their entire life.
And to this day, these kind of things still happens. So it's kind of, ugh.
Lives and move in with a whole new family, likely never seeing their old friends and family again, while the men simply just have a new wife. It's probably why the game tells you to head to the Shimizu residence and not call it home, despite the previous chapters using terms like Rinko's house and Shu's home.
Thank you for the hydrate.
Those are their places, their homes. To Hinako, her home is now just the Shimizu residence, as she is no longer a part of her original family.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
It may even explain why Hinako points out that the house looks different than she remembers. In the coming years, the house will be renovated and changed while she's off with her husband, so even her old memories will soon wither away.
Oh my god, it makes so much sense now.
One of the notes in-game, the solemn letter, even says that when the flesh has rotted away and bone turned to dust, thou shalt serve, implying that even in death, she will still be a part of this new family. This erosion of her past life is what scares her. I think that's why there is such an emphasis on the Shimizu part of her name, because she'll be giving that up to be with someone she's forced to be with, while also adopting their new way of life and status. Thus why she has a fox mask and the
Truly don't understand why she's so upset by marrying someone who clearly loves her, that is hot and rich. Sounds like a better deal than most of the other girls get. But maybe I'm just naive.
Rest of the family on her back. She would be a different woman, who will have to be with a husband she never got to choose, who will also have to say goodbye to her parents and friends as she will likely never see them again. Or, even if she does, as Fox Hinako says in Ending 2, it will not be like it used to be, and the thought of that terrifies her. Besides this, the rest of the game also focuses...
Maybe she don't like the love part, but she seems to love him too, that's the thing. Like she very much romanticizing him in her journal. So I'm like, See, because it very much seems like she wants to be with the Foxman. That's why I'm confused.
On Hinako's relationship with her friends. Hinako was someone who really didn't conform to the traditional expectations of gender. Many of the girls liked to play with dolls, while the boys would play hide and seek or...
The isolation seems to be just the normal results of growing up. People drift apart, get busy, etc.
Dodgeball. She, however, liked to play both, but her peers never accepted her. The boys only saw her as a girl, so they never invited her, and the girls saw how much she played with the boys, so they didn't want her either. Rinko also asks why Hinako always talks so manly, when to her this is just how she speaks. Hinako finds all of this rather strange. She says that kids of the Showa era never get along with the opposite gender, which confuses her because she doesn't understand why boys and girls can't get along and play with each other.
Oh right, we read that.
It led to her rebelling against her parents one day because she didn't want to act like a girl. She hated being told that because she was a girl she had to act a certain way. Being a guy or a girl has certain societal expectations, but these concepts elude her because she doesn't understand why these norms even exist in the first place. This led to her being an outcast, but she found...
I'm guessing these norms are very exaggerated in Japan, and especially during this era as well. Like me growing up, I was also like always with the boys, playing around in the forest, almost kill each other with sticks. I thought that was way more fun, but that didn't make me excluded from the girls. Or maybe I just got lucky, I don't know. I was always friends with everyone.
A valuable relationship with her friend, Shu. Shu saw her not as a girl, but as an equal. They have an unwritten rule to only refer to themselves as partners. He was also the only one to fully...
So that's the like important part with the partner thing, because I was like, partner is very random. But now I understand. It's to like tell each other that they are on the same level. It's more of an old Japan thing, yeah. Definitely.
fully understand her view of life. When she pushed back against societal norms, Shu understood and accepted her for it. The two of them had then become best friends, and have been that way ever since. They play this game called Space Wars, based on an...
That's probably why you like immediately like Shu as well, because he's obviously not looking down on Hinako for being a girl, very much like equal level. Let's do this, wah wah wee wah. Then of course he ruins it with like drugging his best friend or the one he's in love with. But you know,
old alien movie they saw. They pretend that they're soldiers in the space army, fighting against the galactic Imperium. She notes that people have come and gone from the war, aka other kids have joined them, but most of the war has been fought by them. This relationship she has with Shu is invaluable to her, because of how Shu and Hinako view each other. They never saw each other as the genders they were, just partners. Which is why the betrayal within the first ending hits especially hard. Shu comes from a long line of pharmacists. From old herbal remedies and creams to modern medicines, they've done it all, even including controlled substances in their treatments. Shu had been...
And then he decides to make drugs. God, I can't believe this. This makes me so mad. Why not confess your love instead of drugging the person you're in love with? Hello! It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Stupid Shu, stupid Shu. Oh, I told you guys. Useless. Absolutely useless. From beginning to end to explanation. That's a new level of useless.
Recently reading a book called Exotic Herbology and made particular mention of a Kakura Makakura. Supposedly, this was an ancient medicine said to let the user speak with their inner self. Shu had concocted this medicine and started dosing it to test its effects. He was having a full-blown, vivid conversation with another version of himself. This revelation made him decide to give the pills to Hinako. He believed that she could use this to decide on the marriage, as she was still struggling to make a decision. It's clear, though, that he did this with the intent of having her choose him.
Yeah, and she didn't know. Smart enough to make drugs, but not smart enough to be useful. Yeah, like, it would be another thing if he explained, like, oh, these drugs did this to me. Maybe they will help you. Because I had this vivid thing that I could talk about myself. Maybe that will help you, Hinako. But no, he just gives them to her. Oh, la, 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 la. It makes no sense. That's freaky. That's freaky behavior. Creepy, 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 creepy.
He notes how he thinks this marriage of hers is a farce, already taking a side on the matter despite this being about Hinako making her own choices. And the final line mentions how, with this, she will be able to see who really has her best interests at heart. But he realizes that what he's done is incredibly wrong. The drugs did not have the desired effect and ended up making Hinako spiral, leading to ending 1. On ending 2, he admits that this was stupid of him to do when he should have just been happy for his partner. Hinako ultimately forgives him, still seeing how much of a positive impact he's made on her life, which is why she can never find it in her heart to hate him. But it's clear that this choice will affect him, regardless of how much he wants to hide it. He clearly cares about Hinako, that part's obvious. But notes and dialogue from Rinko convey that he hasn't stopped thinking about her. The mention of Hinako being dead during the middle school chapter is a reference to this. Notes from Rinko also claim that Shu, even after Hinako went off to get married, still plays Space Wars all by himself. There is no further continuation of these notes, however, so we'll never know if Shu ever got over her and moved on. But Shu isn't the only one who's manipulated or treated her poorly. Her friends Rinko and Sakuko are—
Well, clearly not. Because he's like in every ending, good or bad.
Are arguably just as bad. Sakuko's first and final line to Hinako in-game is calling her a traitor.
Yeah, this!
Sakuko is incredibly spiritual. She says that a god visits her in her dreams and that there is a war between two gods over the followers being stolen. She also mentions that she can occasionally hear voices and singing in her head. Notes from the middle school also show us that she finds solace in the school's rabbits and talks to them quite frequently. This has led to her being seen as the weird one at school.
He gave her the worst bad trip of all bad trips. Yeah. He literally made her go insane, so she actually killed him. So he basically killed himself by giving her drugs. Suicide by person.
Sakuko doesn't have any friends, but Hinako was able to see through this and accept her for who she was, leading her to becoming her first proper friend. However, Sakuko had made Hinako promise that they would do everything together, including having a boyfriend at the same time. No
So that's why she's a traitor. Man, these friends of hers, very, very weird people just by themselves.
exceptions. So when Koto Yuki asked for her hand in marriage, Sakuko was pissed and felt that she was being abandoned by her friend, causing her to develop a deep resentment for her, which is why she always calls her a traitor. Rinko, on the other hand, is incredibly jealous of Hinako for how easily she can cozy up to Shu. Hinako has essentially found herself in a love triangle, where Rinko loves Shu, Shu loves Hinako, while Hinako initially doesn't seem to care too much about relationships, although she does later admit that she is interested in him to an extent. Now mind you, Hinako has never actually cared that Rinko is interested in Shu, but she knows Shu best. That's why she said that if she isn't interested in rolling around in the mud and catching insects, she's not going to get very far with him. Rinko was raised traditionally, so she has lots of womanly hobbies and interests, like dolls, fashion, and clothes. So it's clear that it was never going to work out.
Dolls.
It's led to her viewing Hinako with such
Why is that a women thing? Gross.
hatred that she sees her as beneath her. In fact, Rinko has a massive superiority complex. She sees practically everyone as beneath her, that she's only being nice to them out of the kindness of her heart because they're so pathetic that they wouldn't be able to operate without her.
Damn.
This superiority complex is meant to mask her
Absolutely
insecurities because she is
psycho.
incredibly jealous of Hinako. Despite being told numerous times, she always asks if both her and Shu are together. Even after all this time, she's still unconvinced and has started spreading rumors about her at school. The girl's attitudes are further elaborated on in some notes we find in-game. Sakuko talks about killing Hinako or cutting off her arms and legs. A few notes are from the girls asking the gods to kill her or take her away. One note of Sakuko's, though, seems to imply that an evil spirit had took over her when writing a diary entry. So this could be a literal evil spirit that is possessing the girls and making them out to be monsters to Hinako. This could very well even be the purpose behind the monster versions of them in the Dark Shrine world. Sakuko's monster is of a Miko, or Shrine Maiden, reflecting her admiration for the spiritual.
A Shrine Maiden.
She has a move
that
where
is
she uses a
snogging
light wind
people.
within the darkness, which you can put out if you attack her, a reference to her fear of the dark. Rinko's monster is of a priest consumed by the fires of jealousy, who has puppets that she commands, in the same way that Rinko was jealous of Hinako's relationship with Shu, and how she always saw herself as above everyone else, thus treated those lower than her like puppets. There are a lot of ways to look at these fights. We could take the aforementioned interpretation and assume that the Dark Shrine world manifested some evil entity to kill Hinako. But you could also view it as a more bizarre showing of their final conversation. Sakuko mentions how she knows that Hinako doesn't want to be here, also urging her to stay with her, while Rinko and her hurtle insults at each other. The two are finally being honest about their feelings of the other, something Hinako mentions at the end of the fight, and Rinko mentions in a note found in-game.
How we truly feel.
One could also say that these complex emotions, from the boss fights to the notes,
they
symbolize the
just
various
hated each other.
emotions and often the intrusive thoughts people have. The reason I believe these to be intrusive is that they are not only next to notes that are more heartfelt and genuine, but by the end, both girls apologize. Silent Hill F is structured rather differently from the other Silent Hill games. I'll discuss this in the ending section a bit more, but not every ending is available to you right away. Certain endings can only be unlocked on specific New Game Plus cycles. As such, the narrative is almost progressing throughout the playthroughs. Both girls' final entries in their journals are
Oh right, I saw that the Phaeton thing carries on with the next playthrough. That's kind of nice. I might play it off stream, just to see if I can find more notes. Then replay it. I don't think that would be very fun for you guys.
reflections on their actions and how they feel horrible for how they treated her. These can only be found on New Game Plus Plus, after 2 or more endings have been completed. The earlier playthrough showed us how much they hated her, but as we continue progressing into the game, we gained more insight into not just the main story, but the characters within it as well. That's why I think these entries were specifically placed this deep into the story. Sakuko recognizes that calling Hinako a traitor was a title born from jealousy. She saw Hinako as so much better than her and didn't want to be left behind. So when the call came down about the marriage, she felt that
yeah, it's a time sink. Plus plus. I was actually thinking I'm gonna try Outlast. And then we have Blue Protocol. That's gonna take some time, right? We'll see, we'll see. We need to have some Deadlock days as well. Or Supervive. MOBA days! We need our MOBA days.
Hinako is moving on without her. But these are the acts of a child, and she understands that now, that everyone goes at their own pace, and that just because she...
I think it's the first one. Not sure. Where I think it's like you go to an asylum. That's the best one in my opinion. Oh. Bro, dodge a bullet with Rinko should be horrible. Yeah, I think so too. Rinko had some proper issues. Yeah, that's the first. Ah, yeah. I was thinking that one. But we'll see. I'm honestly so terrified of playing Outlast. It seems even more stressful than Silent Hill.
She's not as far ahead in life as she wants to, doesn't mean she's failing. While Rinko realizes that instead of making a better friend, she made an enemy. Rinko likes Shu, but she never thought to ask Hinako about him. She was so jealous of their relationship together that she never realized that Hinako could have helped her learn what Shu likes so that she could impress him. We often think back on our lives and what we've done.
Getting chased is just so stressful. Yeah, and it's kind of what Outlast is about, right? I don't think you have weapons. You only have your camera, if I remember. Right?
Especially those times when we made mistakes. The girls had likely done so when they left school and realized how poorly they treated her despite being considered her friends. But it seems as though Hinako, as kind as she is, understood and forgave them, for they appeared during her wedding and ending 1, although I shudder to think what happened because of that. And speaking of which...
They became friends and went to her wedding just to be killed. Like, what the fuck? I want to know what happened after that. Like, damn. Fuck this marriage thing.
It's about time we talk about those endings. As mentioned earlier, Hinako is in conflict with the other side of her. It's the two sides of herself who are going back and forth in her head, trying to get their point across. Should she go along with the marriage or not? The endings, then, represent the decision she ultimately makes. Ending 1 is basically the nuclear option, where Hinako goes crazy thanks to the pills, and so, coupled with the inability to make a decision, she panics and starts killing everyone. She clearly didn't want this life, but saw no way out thanks to society's expectations and standards. It's assumed then that she may have also killed her friends and family as well. Hinako also has a diary where she says that she wants to kill her family with her bare hands, just like the Shiromuku version of her
like a monster or something, she said.
Did. And Shadow Hinako in her room says that she would do exactly this. Speaking on that, the point of no return starts the moment you enter the Shimizu household. By then you would have already had your ending locked in.
Oh.
So the game adds new puzzle solutions specific to these endings, regardless of puzzle difficulty.
That's interesting.
Each one acts as a metaphor and foreshadowing of the ending soon to come. The puzzle to get to the altar in ending 1 says that the blackbird takes the whitebird, while the whitebird attempts to resist, all while the fox is unaware of the conflict. Meaning Hinako's two halves are struggling to decide what to do, while Kotoyuki has no idea that his bride-to-be is even struggling. The same goes for the conversation with her shadow. One of the first things her shadow says is, quote, "It's weird not to have a grasp of yourself, to not understand your own feelings." Unlike the future endings, which are based on our decisions, ending 1 must be done first. The game's lack of options in this first playthrough is symbolic of Hinako's unwillingness to come up with her own
Oh, right, yeah, because you get no, like, options to try to choose something else. You just have to get along with everything the game chooses you to. So that makes sense. That makes sense.
choice. Her own shadow tells her that she must fight to the death with her, that both sides of her mind must fight and decide. One must lose, one must win. That's what we see in endings 2 and 3, where one side of her comes out on top. and why in ending 4, the solution comes from laying down their arms and not fighting.
I see.
But in ending 1, no one technically wins, because Hinako keeps running away.
Yeah, we just get freaking crazy and we kill everyone we care for. But that doesn't send us to Silent Hill. Freaking arranged marriage to a decent guy does.
She doesn't want to make a decision, so Shu used his drugs to help her come to one, to talk with herself, just like he was able to. He had hoped that this would make her see him as better than Kotoyuki, but it caused her to spiral and attack everyone. It's without a doubt an ending that takes place in a fictionalized setting. Hinako is not running through the streets of Ibisugaoka. She is at a shrine waiting to be wed and currently fleeing the scene after what she just did. It's very much a Silent Hill 3, they look like monsters to you moment, except it's actually true. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that throughout the whole game, Hinako has been killing real people, but I do believe that in this moment right here at the end, I think the fictional world that we've been playing in is masking the real world and what's really going on. Every ending after this forbids the player from using the pills. If Hinako is going to decide what she wants to do, she's going to have to do it herself rather.
Oh shit, that's interesting. Starting to feel like this game would have been made more sense if it wasn't tied to Silent Hill. Yeah, probably. Not that I know much about Silent Hill, but feels like it.
Rather than run away and stay within the safety of the pills that mask her feelings. She must confront herself, her feelings, and her needs if she is to have any chance of making a decision. She even says so herself in her own journal.
That's very interesting.
I have to step up and face what's inside me, even if I don't like what I see. In ending 2, Junko says that Shimizu Hinako no longer exists, once again implying that the younger her is gone and that it's just Hinako now. Further saying that the longer she exists, the more Hinako suffers, aka the more doubts that exist, the worse it gets, and this version does not want to get married, and thus creates more conflict within her.
Okay.
This Hinako sees Fox Hinako as the enemy, the one who took her parents and friends away. That's why Fox Hinako corrects her by saying that she didn't, as they're still alive, and she could see them again, just not like when they were kids. Like Junko, Hinako will be a part of a new family, and her old life as a child will be gone. She might still be able to see her parents and friends, but they will have moved on and continued living their lives. It won't be like it's back in middle school anymore.
Yeah, of course.
What ends the conflict is an item picked up for this ending.
Like, who wants to stay in middle school for all eternity? I wouldn't. I think. I don't even remember middle school. So I can say for sure.
The Agura no Hote Sama. It said that the potion can rid evil spirits, but if the user harbors guilt within them, it will also take them with it. Taken literally, this is another continued mention of the game's mythology and religions. Metaphorically, I could see it as her ridding herself of her previous doubts, her other self, as she ultimately decides to marry Kotoyuki, but it's Shu who would be the one to object to it. But even he is sensing an internal struggle within himself, because he knows that he should be happy for his friend for getting married. So Hinako decides to talk it out with him. Even though he wanted to stop things, she could never hate him. They've been friends since they were kids, and he was the only one willing to accept her for who she was. During the boss fight, she says that they will fight this alien together as partners, a reference to their days of space wars. That's why the dialogue throughout this fight is of them reminiscing on the good old days.
As usual.
She wanted to stay in the past, but he realizes that Hinako needs to grow up, spread those wings of hers, and being married is part of that. So in reality, the ending is likely them talking about Hinako and her future.
Yeah.
The two of them are thinking of the past, talking about their issues, before Shu decides that Hinako is right, and that this is her decision to make, and that he should be happy that his friend found happiness. It's why the boss fight ends how it begins, with him standing there. They were talking it out together. The reason why this isn't considered a good ending is because she realizes that in doing this, she'll end up just like her mother, something she clearly doesn't want. Her face being removed like before represents her loss of identity, and the fact that it gets left behind when she walks away and is later stepped on implies that these thoughts will eventually be silenced. Like her mother, she will be complacent, stuck in the marriage, and due to society, will be unable to return home as it's considered shameful. This is her new life, and it's an outcome she does not desire.
But just like her mother...
On the other hand, ending 3 is...
That means she'll be abused?
Isn't good either. Most of the content leading up to this ending is about Hinako and Shu. She recalls the times they played Space Wars together, and the talks they had when Shu learned about her being married off. He tells her though that it's her decision, but just makes sure not to rush things, as she has a habit of rushing through decisions. Her shadow asks if something is wrong with her. She claims to be feeling love, but she isn't exactly sure what that's supposed to feel like. Hinako says that it's very likely that the feelings she has for Koto Yuki are not the same feelings she has for Shu. Upon hearing this, she asks Hinako to kill her, once again meaning kill the idea, the doubt. But in this case, it's the opposite. Rather than killing the doubt of declining the marriage, it's the doubt of accepting it. It's just as the doll says, Shimizu Hinako will live, while she, Fox Hinako, will die. Junko understands her position, saying that something like this is always going to be terrifying, in reference to the marriage. But Hinako corrects her by saying that it's not about whether she can or can't do the marriage, it's about whether she wants to in the first place. She should be able to choose her partner herself. Junko and Fox Hinako tell her, though, that it's too late for her to say this, while Hinako once again corrects them by saying that there is no right or wrong time. Koto Yuki can't accept this, though, and so they fight. Once again, taken literally, this is his Fox heritage coming through, as he is attempting to force her to wed him, even saying that he tried to abide by the rules of human courtship, but he no longer can if it means losing his bride. Metaphorically, Koto Yuki and Hinako are talking about their differences. The redness of the fox begins to melt away, revealing the orange fur, with Koto Yuki himself appearing every so often, showing us that she is eventually getting through to him. By the end, he calms down and realizes that she was right. He loved Hinako since they were kids, and tried to be the best at school to provide her with a better life. He assumed his status, reputation, and wealth would swoon her, but Hinako cares very little for that. She cares about love and wants to make her own decisions. Back at the shrine, Koto Yuki says that he can handle things on his own. Again, literally this means confronting the fox that possessed him to tell him that he failed. Looking at it from another perspective, I think it's his grandfather who would be upset that Koto Yuki let himself get stood up at the wedding, leaving.
I still have a hard time. Like, this poor fox man, he tried. He did everything right, according to, like, the plan back in the day. So it's hard to fault him.
And without a wife, despite being the leader of the Tsuneki clan. He would likely be.
But I hate, like, here she wants to, like, decide herself who she loves. But she's so, like, quick with writing in her journal that she's basically in love with the fox man. So what is the issue? Because it's love she wants, right?
Shame for this, but he knows that this is right, and that Hinako's happiness is more important, even if that means he's no longer a part of it. But this too is not a good ending. This is certainly one of the happier endings within the game. I do not consider it to be the best one though, as the final ending is the only one without some negative consequence or twist reveal. It's better than the others because she got to speak her true feelings and leave the wedding. But it doesn't comment on Shu and his pills, and most importantly, I don't believe it lets her grow up.
Yeah.
One of the reasons she goes with Koto Yuki in ending 2 is because he would be able to give her a future. Being with Shu is like staying in the past. The two of them will likely just go back to playing Space Wars again. But Hinako needs to grow up. She needs to spread those wings of hers, and I do not believe that staying with Shu is the right answer for that. The geysers, though, I think, other than the literal interpretation, represent her mind. In ending 4, the town is described as quiet, which I take it to mean that her mind is at peace and full of clarity. This would then mean that she is basically running away from the town, running away from her future, thus it is destroyed, as she will likely continue to stay the same without room for growth. At least that's how I saw it, although I admit I'm not fully confident in that interpretation myself. But it's through these endings that the path of clarity can be revealed. In completing the true ending, Hinako realizes that she doesn't need to fight with herself. Back at her house, she talks to her mom and dad. You'll recall that she has a very jaded view of her family because of her childhood, but these talks change that a bit. She thought that her mom just took her father's punishments and never stood up for herself, but that's not true. There was actually an argument that they had where her father apologized. Hinako's dad believed that a father should strike fear into his children, as he was the head of the house, and thus made the rules. But he knows that this was wrong, so he apologizes. He made Hinako fear men, and fear what they do to women, which is why her father reassures her that Shu and Koto Yuki are great guys who care for her, a sentiment reinforced by the second ending. But ultimately, it's her choice whether to get married or not, and to whom. Hinako hated her parents.
So, her parents ended up being good as well? Dang it.
Hated her mom for being weak and putting up with her husband's abuse, and her father for being abusive and treating them all terribly, but both apologized for causing harm or worrying her. She finally got the closure she needed, and she no longer sees her parents as these hateful creatures. That's why during the boss fight against them, she tells the corruption to stop ruining her view of them, as she knows who they truly are now, whereas in the other endings, this was never said.
Oh.
Further, a talk with Junko reaffirms her stance that what she values most in life is choice. She may make the wrong decisions, but she would rather make a bad choice herself than a correct one made by someone else. It's rather telling that a unique collectible in this location is a blank canvas.
And that's why there's still an issue with marrying the guy she loves, because she didn't decide it from the beginning. Okay.
Canvas for an art project. The first stroke has yet to be made, but the possibilities are endless. It's up to her to decide what to paint, same as she decides what to do with her life. That's why when the two Hinekos confront each other one more time, they agree to stop fighting. Both of them don't understand why they have to fight, why one has to win while the other has to lose. This is when we get the lore drop of both Hinekos being pawns in a fight between two gods. This part about the gods, Inari killing people who disrespect his shrines, it's certainly the strangest part of the game for sure, and part of the reason I was even questioning if any of these metaphors were even real. But then right after this fight, Tsukumogami is never seen again, and the nine-tailed fox is described as drunk. Kotoyuki says that he hasn't had this much to drink since his last wedding, so he's a bit rowdy. A pretty odd thing to say about a god that can possess you, right? This leads me to believe that this is one of Kotoyuki's family members upset at the outcome of the marriage. Tsukumogami is also possessed by the doll this time and not Shu. I haven't exactly talked about the doll in this video yet. It's appeared at almost every turn, guiding Hineko throughout the game. It is vehemently against Kotoyuki and will even appear in the fog world to help the other Hineko. The journal notes that the Tsukumogami is designed to be a statue of Ashura. Ashura is of Buddhist myth.
Yeah, like I enjoyed this way more, that it was actually like two gods. I guess kind of using this minor detail in her life to something bigger. And then Hinako, either way, came through with what she wanted, I suppose.
Mythology. If anyone with more knowledge on the subject can fill in the blanks, that'd be great. But to my understanding, the face of Ashura represents complex human emotions. So, maybe this fight, as dumb as this is going to come off as, is actually a fight between Hineko and society. That the fox may represent her future life as someone else's wife, or just society's expectations for women in this era, while the doll represents her childlike innocence, which she must move on from because she is meant to spread her wings and make her own decisions. It could also be an attempt to show her moving on and growing as a person by herself. In order to get this ending, she must remove the brooch and purify the sacred sword. When you finish all the Jizo shrines, it almost seems like a godlike entity talks through her in order to get her to the sword. Both Tsukumogami and Inari are likely watching over her through these items, so by relinquishing them, she shows that she no longer needs their assistance and can handle this herself. It's clear that she thinks about the world differently than most. She has blurred the lines of gender and what girls and boys are meant to do, and in a society that often accepts its roles that have been laid out, Hineko is choosing to make her own, one that defines her and her alone. That's why she's so particular about choice.
Ooh, this fox looks so cool. I love the look of this one. Makes sense, but sounds really funny. Yeah.
Choices, and why she should get to choose even if it's the wrong choice.
It's kind of lackluster, the reasoning behind it.
Because that agency and autonomy are valuable to her, but she lives in a world not defined by that yet. She even gets Kotoyuki to understand his side of it too. Hineko never desired any of his wealth or status. All she wanted was a choice. Kotoyuki says it himself, that they both want to know if their love is real, and not some spell. While there is a literal interpretation here with the god's possession and all, a metaphorical look gives us another answer.
Gotta fight evil gods just to devise a fight. Yes, exactly, that's the only way. And I just like the Foxman even more now.
Answer, that the spell that's taken hold is the arrangement. The two of them believe there to be a spark, but is it real love, or is it just the arrangement getting in the way? That's why the two leave with the intent of coming back to answer that question. Kotoyuki never got the childhood he wanted, so he's living out his inner childhood fantasies, allowing himself to be a kid again. While Hineko will choose how to lead her own life, and think about Kotoyuki and whether that spark was real. Both of them will decide of their own volition to tie the knot. But if it wasn't meant to be, at least they got to come to that conclusion on their own and made the choice themselves. This could explain why there is no secret twist at the end like the previous endings, and why Ibisugaoka is quiet. The corruption is gone, and her mind, while previously noisy and full of doubt and worry, for the first time is quiet and clear. This order of the endings, just like the notes, also makes me wonder if the narrative was designed this way on purpose. Ending 1 is the only ending able to be achieved on your first run-through. Endings 2 and 3 are accessible after the first is complete, and Ending 4 is unlocked after 2 or more endings are complete.
Oh.
Notice how the endings themselves seem to be building up to their own conclusion. Ending 1 is the basic option that left her unable to question herself. When talking with her shadow, she sounds confused, as anyone would in this situation. She has no idea what's going on, no idea who this shadow is or what it wants.
Yeah.
In the same way that the player has just been going through the motions.
That would be so freaky. Just seeing a version of yourself and be like, hello? What the hell do you want?
We're just as clueless as she is. That's why it urges her to think about what's really going on, the fact that she has a wedding to attend to, and that soon she'll be married off. Neither the player nor Hinako knows that, so both are left confused. Later, once the ending is revealed and we have time to digest it and look at the facts, such as the true identity of the Shiromuku, we can see things with a bit more clarity. New Game Plus gives us that time to think things over, look at the narrative from a different perspective. Hideko similarly has more time to think about what she wants to do, but it ultimately ends in a either-or decision.
At least I understand way more now about this
2
story.
full playthroughs gives the player and Hinako the clarity they need, as they've had more time to think. Hell, one could say that the endings themselves were able to convince her of her true desires. Maybe during that long period of thought, she thought about what would happen if she did go through with it versus not. Maybe these endings are what Hinako thought of when weighing the pros and cons, and that's why they are undesirable to her, as they don't lead to a happy outcome for her. When talking with Junko in the final chapter, she asks if it's gone, only for her to ask in a repeat playthrough if it's still alive. She was talking about her doubts, her fears of going through with this. Junko will further say that regrets are not resolved quickly, which is why Hinako was given more time. She was given more time to make her decision, aka we were given another playthrough to make another decision and get another ending. Her dialogue is the same for both endings 2, 3, and 4, because Hinako is still weighing the options. To kill one side of her so that the other can win, or seeing if both sides can come together. That's why I believe that the narrative is structured this way. Previous Silent Hill games, and even most games in general, are portrayed as a one-time excursion, where we choose something at the end. Repeat playthroughs give us different perspectives, but it's still the character's first time through. We're just metagaming in a sense because we know what's going to happen. I think Silent Hill F intends for each playthrough and each ending to be a continuation. Not that a different playthrough replaces the previous one, but that every playthrough is sequential.
That's
each
so
ending
clever.
then isn't
I
the
like
ending of a
that.
story per se, but rather the end of an act, with each one giving us more and more answers until we finally conclude.
That's so cool.
That, I believe, is the true ending, and the real story behind Silent Hill F. Thank you all for watching today, and I hope you enjoyed it. This might have been the hardest video I've ever had to make, and I'm honestly not sure if I even nailed this at all. Maybe I did. Maybe that was the entire point of the story. Or maybe I have just as much coherence as a man with too much tinfoil around his head. So I urge you to let me know what you think in the comments down below.
Oh
As
my
always,
God.
like the video if you enjoy and subscribe if you're new.
My head actually hurts after that. So much thinking, but that's very, very interesting. Yeah, it's lackluster when the entire reasoning is just about the marriage. Well, it's not only about that, but if it comes down to it, it's about arranged marriage and how Hinako feels about it. So it's like, what? And then there are gods and things thrown in as well. The red pills to try to get you. I think so too. I think so too. And now we're also experts on Silent Hill F. It feels like I know everything about Silent Hill F right now. I could take a quiz, honestly. And I kind of want to play Silent Hill 2.